Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I am recording a pick a card where we are going to ask the spirit guides and higher selves of the collective for each group or pile to bring us in some guidance for the current situation of the members of that group. So group 1 is represented by the Light Seers Tarot deck. If you are drawn to the Spirit Song Tarot deck, your group is pile 2. And if you are drawn to the Unfolding Path Tarot deck, your group is pile 3. And I'll be starting off each reading with the assigned deck and might bring in some other decks too, depending on where Spirit leads me for each reading. And if you are noticing a little bit of a rasp or a croak in my voice, I have been out sick for the last week. I'm feeling a lot better, but definitely my voice still sounds a little shabby, so please forgive me. Take your time, pause the video if you need to tune into which group is calling you and has messages for you from your spirit guides or higher self, and I'll see you at your reading. Hello pile 3 and welcome to your reading. This is your pile if you chose the Unfolding Path Tarot deck. And let's get right into shuffling. Spirit guides and higher selves of pile 3. What messages does pile 3 need today? What messages do you have for pile 3 today? What do you want them to hear? What do they need to hear? What messages do you have for pile 3 today? I'm laughing because the cards are going all unruly all of a sudden. A whole chunk of them just fell out. All right. What are you trying to say, spirit guides? Ooh, we have the Fool. 0 in the Major Arcana, the first tarot card of all. That phrasing came from my spirit guides. I wonder what the significance of that is. We have the 8 of Swords. We have the Chariot. Interesting, the 7 and 8 together here. The Chariot's the 7th Major Arcana, and then we have the 8 of Swords. We have infinite potential and fiery burst of forward movement being hindered by limiting beliefs. That's the picture those 3 cards together are painting. Let's get more details. What do we... The Hierophant, the 5th Major Arcana. We have 3 Major Arcana out of 4 cards here. You have great spiritual wisdom. You have magic within you with the Fool and the Hierophant that has not yet been tapped with the 8 of Swords. And you may already know that you have great depths of magic, of power, of wisdom, of insight, of experience, and yet there's infinitely more even beyond that, more than you have yet realized. I'm being drawn to these stars in the sky on the right side of the 8 of Swords card here. There's this infinite night sky, and yet beyond what this individual can see, there are infinite stars within that sky. So you're aware of your depths, and yet you don't know yet how much light, how much potential with the Fool lies within those depths. And with those limiting beliefs, it's conditioned and ingrained for you to forget and block out the possibility, the potential of exactly how much lies within those depths. We have the butterflies and the Fool card. It's conditioned and ingrained for you to block out exactly how much you could blossom and transform like the butterfly. It's conditioned for you to believe that the ways in which you have not yet metamorphosized are your permanent state, that you have nothing more beyond that sort of caterpillar state. Not that there's something wrong with the caterpillar state, but there is a problem with someone not realizing that they could actually transform. It's up to each individual whether it actually is for them in their best interests and aligned with what they want out of life in each and every little area Do they want to be a caterpillar and, get the wisdom they gain from being close to the ground in that area, or do they want to transform and fly? Is it worth all the work of cocooning for the payoff of being a butterfly in that area of their life? And it's a problem if someone is making that choice unconsciously, because they might be making a choice that's out of alignment for them and simply not know it, because they don't realize that they actually have the choice to go into the cocoon and metamorphosize and become all that they could be in that area of their life. And so your spirit guides are presenting to you, like, there are areas of your life, and there's one big area they want to highlight that they're kind of giving an indication that you might know just already what it is. There's one big area that they really want you to realize you actually have the power and the potential to make that seed grow and blossom. There is actually, it's like they're showing you, looking at this part of yourself as if it is a dead seed, when it actually does have everything in it to blossom into a flower. I don't know if there's a technical term for a dead seed. I just remember experimenting with gardening in childhood, and as something my family was doing, and there being some seeds that just wouldn't germinate when you watered and fed them, and other seeds that would. And so they're giving me the image of you thinking this part of yourself is one of those seeds that just won't germinate, and there's just no point in watering it and putting in all that effort to nurture it, when it actually would. And not only blossom and bloom, but also then cast off other seeds when it does grow into a plant, and have this sort of infinite cascading effect, like that infinite sky of stars and the magic, the bottomless magic coming out of the Hierophant's hands. And the chariot represents all that potential energy within the seed that is ready to burst forth, and it was upright, so it is ready. There's nothing holding it back. The Eight of Swords suggests, and this was a theme in a novel that I just read it, this character in this novel had this epiphany, like, I'm the only thing holding me back. It was a romance novel by Lauren Blakely. So if you are interested in romance novels, feel free to comment below and I'll tell you what it was. But it's not like I'm being paid to promote or anything like that, and I don't want to distract from the reading. But that epiphany, my spirit guides were just, or your spirit guides, actually, I'm being corrected, just brought into my mind of, I'm the only thing that's holding me back. This potential is actually all ready to burst forth. And it would be a waste of time. It would be truly foolish not to take the risk. I've been viewing it as it would be foolish to pour all this effort into something I was just assuming based on conditioning would be a risk. But I'm realizing I've had it all upside down. What would be truly foolish would be not to nurture this incredibly fruitful seed I have within me. And there's a recognition, there's a really strong highlight from your spirit guides that you have it backwards because of conditioning from people who in some way benefited from you being afraid of your own power and your own potential. Not that anyone is ever really inherently or innately afraid of power or success, but we get conditioned to associate empowerment, power, success, agency, free will with all these negative consequences and these negative side effects that are not inherent to the free will, to the power, to the potential. But we learn to associate those negative consequences or side effects with the positive thing, and so we come to associate the fear of those negative things with a fear of the thing itself. It's kind of there's nothing to fear but fear itself energy here, that JFK quote from many years ago. And the people who benefited from you fearing your own power or disregarding your power, assuming that it was less than it actually was, diminishing it, the people who benefited from that may not have been people who were conscious of that fear or of what they were doing to you. They may have been people who had been made small themselves their whole lives, and so it would turn their worldview upside down if you didn't conform to also being made small, and they were just completely unconsciously bought in and enforcing the lie that they had bought on other people. So, of course, you may also have had consciously abusive people enforcing that paradigm for you. For most of us, we encounter a mix of both in our lives. So the important thing is recognizing none of those people are holding me back at this point in my life. The only person who can hold me back is me, so am I going to? And if I'm not, then what is my first step? What is the first sword that I pluck out of the ground, out of this cage? Or is my first step actually just taking my hands off of the swords and looking around me and noticing, oh, I can walk around? And then is my first step after that bandaging my hands? And then is my next step after that getting warm, because this figure looks like they might be kind of cold and in the night in their shorts, you know. Cold and lonely is the phrase that's coming to mind. So what is my next step here? What's my next play? And with the chariot representing this momentum builds and snowballs. So your spirit guides are drawing your attention right now to not pay attention to the whole staircase, but just to the next step, and break it down into bite-sized pieces for yourself, things you can swallow. Is your next step looking yourself in the eye in the mirror and saying something you like about yourself before you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning? Is your next step getting yourself a journal because you've been putting off getting yourself something nice, buying yourself nice things, but you actually would really like to have a place to write down your ideas or empty out your thoughts in the morning, or record your ideas before you forget them so that you can later look back on them and figure out, oh, I actually want to put this into action. I couldn't really tell in the moment whether this idea was actually inspired or not, but now I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, this is totally feasible and I would love this. And that letting yourself have nice things energy is really key here too, as something your spirit guides are highlighting as helping you get out from behind this glass ceiling in your mind. Let yourself have nice things. Let yourself consider that your ideas might actually be really effing good ideas. Your spirit guides were not censoring that word, but I will just in case. Let yourself just take a single step and not worry about where it leads, and allow then the next foot to go in front of the other, and then the next and the next, and just watch as it snowballs. Just watch, your spirit guides are saying. Like, don't worry about it. Don't they're saying this is a past energy. They're saying this is not something you have to worry about right now, but they're indicating as something to maybe validate where you've come from with these past fears, that you may have had a tendency in the past when you saw yourself start to make progress to sort of seize up, like go into freeze mode of like these, get really seized and paralyzed by these fears of effing it all up once you'd made some progress. Of like, oh no, now I have more to lose, now I have farther to fall. And they're really strongly indicating that as a past energy, something that you've done something recently to release, purge, heal, shift, transform with those butterflies and flowers. And they're drawing me to the balloon and how it's not weighed down. She's holding it, and she can choose what she wants to do with it. Does she want to set it free? Does she want to keep it in her house? Does she want to hold it in her hand? Does she want to... they're showing me the house from the movie Up, the Pixar movie. Does she want to go get a whole bunch of other balloons so she can fly away on the winds of her dreams? Lots of wording is coming through from Spirit today, which is lovely. So the Fool is standing in a place of infinite potential, which means infinite choices. You have infinite choices before you. And you might have only one end goal that you really want, but there are many paths to it. And you might also have many versions of your end goal that are palatable to you equally. You might have a strong vision and really not be that fussed exactly how it comes about, and your spirit guides are reminding you that that is actually the most powerful place to manifest from, because if you try to really get specific about the how, well, there are times and places for that type of manifestation, because that type of specificity can help you make the vibration really crisp and clear, and help your vision be something you can feel and taste, and that can help you really solidify it and bring it in. But most of the time, more often than not, what you really want to be clear on is the outcome that you wish, and the vibration of that outcome is the one you want to hold on, and you want to let the universe take care of how. Because if you get really hung up on it coming in, your end vision coming in only one specific way, you're asking the universe to deliver you the ocean through a straw. And that's a lot harder than if the universe has the endless possible ways that there are to deliver ocean water to an individual. You know, in a cup, through a straw, on a boat, on a plane, on a ferry, by plane, train, and automobile. You know, there are so many ways that the dream can be delivered to you if you are genuinely open to them. And if you're not, that's fine. Own that and get clear on why, so that you can really consciously choose what specifics you want and why. But you are being really portrayed by your spirit guides right now as the fool with this infinite open-mindedness. And that open-mindedness is something your spirit guides are really applauding you for, because they're saying that clearing that you did of that pattern that you had, that holding pattern that was keeping you in place of going into a freeze response of some kind, whether you considered it self-sabotage, whether you considered it just some kind of brain fog, whatever it looked like for you, going into some kind of freeze or holding pattern when you started to make progress in certain areas of your life, and not really understanding why those areas were in that holding pattern while other areas were free to progress. Not really understanding why you plateaued. You're free from that plateau now. That glass ceiling is shattered, and it's time to really believe in that and believe in yourself. And your spirit guides are really applauding you for shattering that limitation, because that's what's put you in the full space of this incredibly empowering, limitless potential and open-mindedness. There's this wonderful space when you shatter an old belief and you're actually open to not just one belief coming in to replace it, but actually many. Because when you're shattering this old belief, that's something like, oh, I have to stay small to stay safe, for example. I have to mess things up because it's actually not safe for me to progress past a certain level. There are so many ways that belief can look and sound in each individual's mind. So I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. Whatever iteration of that was what you learned in childhood or had conditioned upon you in childhood. That belief or paradigm, that lens through which you look at the world, colors so many different areas of your life that when you shatter that lens, you're actually open to it being replaced by this like whole bouquet of different things in different areas of your life. I'm free to expand. It's actually good for me and good for the people around me when I capitalize on all the wealth of potential within me. I actually have the capacity to make a huge difference in the world by living my best life, by making myself as happy as possible, by capitalizing on my own potential for abundance to the greatest extent possible. These types of, your spirit guides are really encouraging you to affirm for yourself, strengthen for yourself, that it's actually good for other people, for you to be as big and bright and beautiful and vibrant as possible, to be as healthy and wealthy and fit as possible, to enjoy your life to the maximum extent. It's actually good for other people as well as for yourself. It's like the difference between the world, if the sun was hiding behind a cloud versus actually shining? How many foods and species would simply not exist if the sun never came out? And you have the capacity to be that sun in your life and the lives of so many others that you've never met and couldn't even imagine. People that you never even will meet, but will still be impacted by your influence on other people who then meet other people who then meet them, or by your work being put out into the world and, you know, reaching their ears, reaching their eyes, reaching their minds and hearts, their souls. You have the capacity to change people's souls, change people's worlds, and change people's lives. And your spirit guides are calling on you to be proud of that and exuberantly take those little steps forward, and exuberantly, but also exuberantly and or just neutrally, without judgment, watch those steps unfold. Watch that snowball get bigger and bigger and bigger until it's rolling down the hill all by itself without you even rolling it anymore. And that is a level of freedom that I'm hearing your spirit guides say you've been yearning for, calling for, that they're strongly actually emphasizing financially there, getting to a point in your life where the money is making itself because of the work you've already put in, the graft you've already put in to create something that then becomes self-sustaining and then can sustain you for the rest of your life. So you're free to make other dreams come true, free to work on charity efforts, free to spend time with family, free to, you know, learn to paint, spend time in nature, travel the world, travel the country. Yeah, they're strongly emphasizing that financially. It could also apply in many other ways, of course. Yeah. Okay, they're saying we're done with the Unfolding Path Tarot for the moment, and they're drawing me to the Frequency Tarot. What messages do you have for us, spirit guides of pile 3? Healing, number 7. This is a powerful Arcturian light grid. That's what this painting is a representation of. So I love that I was called to place that between the Fool and the Eight of Swords, because this represents the healing that you've been doing and are completing. Yeah, again, that affirmation really strongly wanting you to believe, your spirit guides, that it is healing for you and for others to own how amazing you are, to be loud and proud, and even show up as a little bit cocky, because you know what? Cocky can be confident and playful and charming and charismatic. When it's not putting anyone else down, it's not a problem. The only reason arrogance is a problem is because of the implication that other people are worth less than you are. When you're cocky simply out of confidence in yourself, and it's not a statement about other people whatsoever, then it's not your problem if they decide to make it into a statement about themselves. And there are plenty of people who will delight and thrill in watching you own that cocky charm and charisma and confidence. I mean, how much do we love seeing a rock star or an athlete just own their mastery of their skill, you know? And you can own what you're good at without having to be an Olympian at it. You don't have to be the absolute best of the best of the best to be like, yeah, I'm good at this and it's worth sharing. I don't have to necessarily go to the Olympics for that to be true. There are so many ways it can be shared. Maybe it's it's metaphorically in the minor leagues instead of the major leagues. Maybe you share your amazingness at your sport through coaching, and that actually fulfills you more than the specific. That's a very different type of dedication to the craft than the dedication to the craft of going to the major leagues, right? Like, you are dedicating your life to that sport either way, but in a very different way. They involve discipline of very different types, and it's not inherently less disciplined to be a coach, it's a lot less discipline in certain specific areas, like how specific your diet has to be, how regimented your exercise routine has to be. And it might be less disciplined in all areas, but that depends on who you're coaching and how dedicated you are to it. I don't know how that metaphor is going to apply to you all, but Spirit told me to run with it. So let's see what the guidebook for the Frequency Tarot has to say about the healing card, number 7. Oh, and that lines up with the Chariot energy as well. Yes. You're going to find that healing and bursting forward in this burst of energy are actually one and the same in this next stage of your life, instead of it being like so draining to make a big strides forward, because you don't have those weights holding you back, holding your balloon down, those weights of the caging beliefs and the fear and the that automatic programming to put yourself down every time you take a step forward. Without that draining and depleting you every time you take a step forward, it's going to be actually incredibly healing to watch your progress and just sit back and watch. Instead, that in addition to that depletion of the programming to put yourself down every time you take a step forward, there's a level of control that those beliefs and fears were demanding of you, requiring of you. And when you don't have to have that control and you can just let go of the reins and let your passion, like this tiger, this steed, move you forward, let your innate inspiration and motivation, sometimes it'll be quiet little baby steps, other times it'll be these loud, passionate bursts. But either way, it will move you forward, it will inspire you. And that in and of itself, that version of discipline where you take whatever steps you're inspired to do that day, even if you're a little tired, without allowing the discipline to not allow other people's voices or old voices to hold you back, and how different that is from abusive forms of discipline that were most likely enforced on you in your childhood, because most people in our culture have that experience. That in and of itself is healing, but then also just watching how that then brings you joy, brings you happiness, affects your life, develops your skills so that you feel more confidence and competence, because you are actually not being held back by other factors, external and internal, from practicing that skill every day or utilizing it to its fullest extent at work, where you might have felt like you had to play small instead of competing for a promotion. Whatever it is, it's going to be so healing to watch that unfold on your life. And it's going to be healing for your inner children, your inner child who was held back or stunted in their growth in some way because of the ways they were punished if they didn't play small. It's going to be so healing to see yourself not be punished and to not punish yourself. And your spirit guides are just so excited, so thrilled to watch this in you, see this for you, and so excited to watch that unfold. They're like, yes, we can't wait for you to and they're not even talking about the big picture. They are excited for the big picture for you, but they're so excited just for you to wake up tomorrow and do something that makes you happy as part of your morning routine, and not spiral into self-doubt about it, or beat yourself up for taking 5 minutes for yourself, or question whether that was the right thing to do, or just in some way put yourself down after whatever you do that represents progress tomorrow morning. They're just so excited for that, because that's so much more significant. That's like the first or second or third domino in such a long chain. And because even without the rest of the dominoes, that is just so significant in and of itself. It's like a chink in your armor being healed over, that now you don't have to walk around with this open wound bleeding out all the time. And that in and of itself, yes, that's going to have a huge cascade of effects, because you don't have to have a hand staunching the bleeding anymore, so you can have the use of both hands. And if you were impressed by what you were able to do with one hand, world, just wait and see what this person can do with both. But even regardless of those down the line effects, those domino effects. Simply not having to walk through the world with the pain of the open wound and the depletion of the constant bleeding, and having to constantly give your body the nutrients to replace that bleeding, and so on and so forth, is so huge and so worth celebrating. In fact, that's like your homework from your spirit guides, is to do something that is literally just for the sake of celebrating yourself. Go get your favorite drink or cake, or go, out of your way to your favorite park or restaurant or whatever it is, just to celebrate yourself, like for no other reason. Do something just for celebration. Like we have that balloon in the Fool card. So often we can only accept, balloons and flowers if they come from other people. And trust me, your spirit guides absolutely believe you deserve your flowers from other people as well. But they want you to go get flowers or cake or balloons or whatever it is, just to celebrate you as well. Like, set that standard for yourself of like, yeah, actually I deserve to be treated this way. Not because you have to do that in order for other people to do the same. You don't, actually. Like, it's total BS, this concept in the spiritual world of like, you have to love yourself before anyone else can show love to you. That's not it. But just simply show yourself that you deserve it, and set that bar that high for yourself, instead of being like, oh no, I'm actually supposed to lower that bar. Like, no, you're done with that paradigm. You've cleared it. So now that nothing is forcing you to hold the bar at ground level anymore, raise it up over your head. You don't have to play limbo under it anymore. Your spirit guides are really getting into the metaphors and analogies today. I love it. I love it. I'm here for it. Raise that bar over your head, period. Do not compromise your standards. Do not sacrifice your standards. Do not sacrifice yourself. Do not compromise yourself, your boundaries, what you want, your desires, any of it. Do not compromise, period. Full stop. All right. So the guidebook for the Frequency Tarot for the Healing card says, if you've drawn this card up right, you are being given the opportunity to heal. The universe is calling you to become sound, healthy, and whole again. Just like I was saying with that chink in the armor, that open wound being healed up. Trust that your healing is in process, and that the opportunities for further healing are finding their way to you, like the snowball with the chariot. And also trusting spirit with the Hierophant, very connected to source here. You do not need to force it to happen. Allow others to assist in your healing process, and be open to new opportunities that come your way, even if they seem out of the ordinary. Yet you do not need to force it. What was I saying about letting go of control? Like, stop trying to control the process and follow your inspiration. The only discipline you require is saying to yourself, you know what? My old patterning would have said, lie down on the floor and give up now. But I'm feeling the motivation, the inspiration, the idea niggling in the back of my mind of, but I could do this tiny little step instead if I just got up. The only discipline you need is the discipline to get up when you have that, to follow with the Hierophant, that strong, like this, the Hierophant is a strong bonded connection to source and spirit, like a whole lineage. It is sealed tight, it is protected, it is absolutely uncompromised, this connection to source that you have. So follow it. The only discipline you require is that, not this concept of control or rigidity or dogma. And then the last sentence of the guidebook is, all powers in the universe are working with you to get you to a state of well-being. Yeah, your spirit guides are really reassuring you of that everything is working in your favor. It's not just may the odds be ever in your favor. It's everything is working in your favor. Like, let that tide, that flood push you. The only thing you need to quit is holding back and holding in. I think I mentioned that in one other reading in the recent past. I don't remember which one. That's like a mantra that I came up with, or that spirit gave to me, that I channeled many, many years ago. And that's the only discipline you require. Not No version of control is needed, just the discipline to, when you feel the temptation to hold back, just don't. Maybe that should be tempered by a reminder, like, of course, be kind to people. If you're not standing up for yourself, you don't maybe need to, like, say mean things just because you've been given the advice to not hold back. But hopefully, if you're outgrowing that need to live small, then that might not be the advice you need right now. I'm being drawn to the messages from the Mermaids deck. I just started shuffling that. Let's see what comes through. Trust. Yes, what were we just saying? Trust your own spirit. Trust the niggle. Trust the universe. The universe has got your back. Trust that you can tell the difference between your old conditioning and your true inspiration when you're hearing competing voices in your mind. Trust that you can tell which one is right for you. Sometimes you'll know instantly. Sometimes it might take you a second to parse it, but trust that you are more than capable of knowing and discerning that, and of following the voice that is actually correct for you. Making your choices conscious, and then making those decisions consciously. They're drawing me to the Garden Dragons deck next. We are going all over the place with these decks today. I love it. The Garden Dragons art makes me so happy. What do the dragons have for us today, Spirit? Dragon guides are coming through for you. They're coming through as part of this Chariot energy. Some of you may work with dragon spirit guides, or just dragon energy, dragons as a totem animal, or totem being, I should say. Because they are coming through loud and clear. Peanut butter dragon companion. Okay, they're drawing me back to that message in the healing cards guidebook about allow others to assist you. I wasn't actually expecting that to be like the highlight or the focus. Oh, and they're drawing me to the butterfly here, and that butterfly has similar colors in it to the colors in the healing card. That's so gorgeous. That butterfly is so purple and red and pink. And they're drawing me to the richness of peanut butter. Like, there's so much richness in life that you haven't even experienced yet. And they want you to get excited to mine life for every last drop of richness. Instead of looking life as like a grind, the way that you grind peanut butter from the peanuts, instead of looking at life as like wearing you down, look at it as like, this is mine. Like, this juice is mine to get out of life. This is so exciting. Like, yeah, it takes some graft and some work, but look what I'm getting out of it. I get to pour the fruits of my labors back into me. I get to enjoy the fruits of my labors and enjoy the process itself. Like, I'm going to get really curious now about where in life can I mine a pleasure from. Yes, they're asking you to become, like a gold miner or a diamond miner who, not in the literal sense of someone who unfortunately tends to get exploited for incredibly taxing and destructive to their health labor, but in the sense of like seeing gold and diamonds everywhere, seeing the potential for that everywhere, like not just in the big things of the big goals, but the little moments of every day. See the gold in it, see the diamonds in it, become an alchemist. We have all that stuff with transformation too, with all these cards. Become an alchemist too, in the so-called lead of what other people might see as lead in everyday life. Sees the gold, sees the potential for joy or pleasure in a small moment. Like a pretty view while you're stuck in traffic, or a sip of coffee, or your soft, clean sheets. Become that alchemist who sees that potential in your life, and become that alchemist who sees that potential in every little part of yourself, who looks at yourself with the eye of someone who is looking for beauty, who's willing to see it, who's willing to find it, not someone who's looking for beauty as in, I'm so critical of everything that doesn't meet my standards for that, but who's looking for beauty in the sense of, I am so willing and ready to find it everywhere I look. You know, I'm willing to find beauty in the colors swirling down the drain when I rinse out the container in the sink. I had a friend in high school who got so excited about things like that, and it was one of those little tiny experiences where that person had a big impact on me just by being themselves, because it was one of many experiences that at this point in my life that have shown me, like, there really is beauty everywhere if you are willing to find it and not just look for it, but actually accept it when you see it, including in yourself. When you see yourself doing something well, accept that compliment from yourself. When someone else points it out, accept it. Be your own best friend is something I'm getting with Companion, and this mindset that they've drawn me to with that juiciness, that richness of life. Be your own best friend. Make your life an adventure that you are going on with yourself and with your dragon guides and your spirit guides. And be open to other people. Yeah, because the people you really want in your life are the people that will make going to the grocery store an adventure, will make every day an adventure. So be that for yourself. That will draw in more people who are like you, because they'll see how excited you get about every little thing, and they'll get excited to do that with you. And you'll be more able to see those people around you when you're capitalizing on that ability in yourself as well. Those people won't just walk by you while your head is down in the dumps, you know, staring at the cracks in the concrete while they're looking up at the stars. You know, you'll be able to see and find your people that way. You know, it's also, when you're mining life for richness, it's also seeing the richness in other people as well, instead of seeing everyone who walks by you only as a potential threat or someone who's either in your way or you need to get out of the way of. You know, see them as people that you are walking beside through life, companions, comrades through life. And if they choose not to take up that invitation, that's fine. That doesn't have to make them a threat or a rejection. That's just their choice. And it has no bearing or reflection on you. But by walking through life with that kind of open invitation to find out who is actually an aligned and worthy companion for you, and being open to that potentially coming from unexpected places and people, you not only open yourself up to a lot more potential rich and long-term friendships, fruitful collaborations, etc., you also, regardless of whether those little interactions that you have in your everyday life as a result become anything longer lasting, you have a much richer daily life because you're having those little interactions where you say how are you to the person at the grocery store and you mean it, where you compliment the stranger on their dress and you get to see their face light up because you meant it and you made eye contact, and that sort of thing, where you get to pet the dog because you didn't assume without asking that the person who was walking the dog would not be okay with it. You know, all those little things. You get to taste the peanut butter. Yeah, they're saying don't be fooled by the shell of the peanut. Like, it's so easy once you crack the shell. Like, come on. Don't be scared off just because there's a little tiny hill of effort to get over in cracking the shell. And that goes for people, that goes for endeavors, that goes for yourself. Mushroom dragon illusion. I love the ride of colors on the mushroom dragon. It's like you are not someone who is made to fit in. You are someone who is made to stand out, and you are going to attract all the other people waving their freak flag by being willing to capitalize on your own strengths and show them off. Yeah, you have, like, this red is so vibrant and mushrooms have such incredible medicine. You have that incredible medicine as well. And it, like we were talking about with the sun and how it wouldn't change, like, it's so life-giving, and yet it wouldn't be if it hid, right? It's like you're just being told so strongly that it's just time to just be loud and bright and brilliant and beautiful, and not worry about whether anyone else thinks it's too much. And with the companionship, there's reassurance that you're going to find the people who are just as jazzed and excited about your loudness and brightness and gifts as you are about theirs. People that you can be mutual cheerleaders with and allies with. It's an illusion that, this came out right under the Eight of Swords. It's an illusion that you're any less than all that. That I'm really being brought back to that, like, strut your stuff energy. Like, you don't need to be the best at something to know you are damn good at it, or simply damn unique at it and have something to offer in a way that no one else can offer it. It doesn't matter, like, it's irrelevant who's the best, because no one else can do it like you do. No one else is doing it like you do. There's also a message here about, mushrooms. The world of fungi is infinitely more tapped into the oneness of all beings than humanity currently is. Fungi and mushrooms are experts on that. They are so wise, like the Hierophant. They are our teachers in that way. They have so much insight, so much to offer in that medicine of the oneness of all things. What are you telling me about that, spirit guides? That is coming back to that thing about the sun and how you raising yourself up and elevating and exalting yourself exalts the whole universe. And that is a massive and important message. Exalting yourself exalts the whole universe. There is power in what a lot of religious folks do in terms of devoting their work to God, or to a higher power, devoting their work to love, doing it for love, whether you're religious or not. Lots of people do that for the people in their lives. There is power in that, because that might be a key that you can use to sort of unlock yourself from the cage bars of control, fear-based control, or the compulsion to control or limit yourself and keep yourself on the rails when you'd actually be better off not, to prevent your snowball from getting bigger when it actually is perfectly free to do so. That might be something you can do to kind of, it's like a cheat code. You know how some people say they have the mom friend override, where they would be self-conscious if they were standing up for themselves or asking for what they want or need. But if it's a loved one, they won't even think twice. This comes up for me in my personal life, where if I'm by myself dealing with a bug, I will get freaked out and scared and have trouble capturing it or killing it or whatever is needed in that situation. But if there's someone else in the room who's more scared than I am, easy. Not even a second thought. So they're presenting that sort of cheat code to you, like when you start to, if you experience little glimmers, little triggers of, am I really worthy? Is this really okay? Do I really have permission, or simply not need permission, to go big and go home and be expansive and be cocky and know how awesome I am? When any doubt about that starts to creep in, devotion to a higher power, or to the force of love in general, or to love for others, is a cheat code. And if you need it to be more specific, picture the example you would want to set, either for your inner child or for your future child, or if you already have children or young people who look up to you. Picture the example you would want to set for them, of someone who knows their worth, knows their hot shit, forgive my French, who knows what they bring to the table and won't settle for less in return, and won't settle for it being downplayed, and at the same time is perfectly capable of not downplaying others to play up their own capabilities or value or confidence, right? Picture the example you would want to set for someone else of how You can own exactly how amazing you are, how radically awesome you are and brilliant you are. Own your genius. Because the mushroom dragon does represent that, this unique genius that you bring to the table. Own that, and it doesn't mean putting a single other person down or a single other part of yourself. And it actually makes you even better at bringing out the richness in other people, the gifts in other people, the brightness and brilliance and genius in other people. Because you become so secure and grounded in yourself that there's no threat in someone else also knowing their hot shit. So you become excited about bringing other people's gifts out instead of your reaction to seeing other people's gifts being shame about how you aren't the same as them or don't live up to the standard you think they set. Well, that's not very encouraging to them to shine, is it? When you exalt yourself, you exalt them too. And that's the attitude, that's the confidence, that's the oneness that these dragons are bringing to the table and reminding you to bring out in yourself and in other people at the same time. I'm actually in awe of that message and how that came out, because that was so intricate and so well woven and so full circle. Exalt yourself and you exalt the universe. Be unafraid. Be not afraid to exalt yourself and others in the same breath, to own your own cocky, confident charm and charisma, and at the same breath, and know that by lighting up the room in that way, you light the fuse in other people to be their own dynamite as well. Again, they're highlighting like how much it actually brings someone else down if your response to their brilliance is shame about yourself. That may in fact have been, if you're anything like me, that was probably what taught you that you should make yourself small, because it made your parents or caregivers or older siblings or peers feel bad in some way to see you as smarter than them, better than them, bigger than them in some capacity. And so you learned to hold back so that it wouldn't make them feel bad. It wouldn't make anyone feel bad, but especially people that you cared about having a connection with and whose feelings you cared about. And so you're being reminded it's actually good to care about people's feelings, and there's a much better way to do it. There's an infinitely better way to do it, because look how much you actually can light people up when you heal from your own shame, and therefore flood their lives, flood whatever room you walk into with that vibration of, hey, guess what? You don't have to be ashamed. I'm not. Hell no, I'm not. And when you flood every room you walk into, or even any room you walk into, with that vibration, and it doesn't have to be loudly. Confidence isn't always the loudest roar in the room. Confidence is often knowing you don't have to shout to be heard. Like, confidence is often the person will be like, hey, I'm gonna pull you aside out of this loud room so you can hear me without me having to tax myself and yell. You know, like, or I'm simply gonna sit back and wait my turn to speak because I don't need to be in a rush. I know that what I have to say is of value, so I don't need to be speaking over anyone else to get my words out first, because them talking first isn't going to make what I have to offer any less valuable, etc., etc., etc. Okay, I'm being given another dragon card here. Peach Dragon, vulnerable. Loving the vivid orange in this card, and we have so much vivid orange in the Peanut Butter Dragon as well. This healing of shame is really healing your sacral chakra, and or coming about from healing in your sacral chakra. Healing your emotions and your ability. Is it ability? Healing, it's this emotional, physical intersection where certain things like that freeze response that we mentioned earlier, but also a lot of other times when vulnerability was taken advantage of and exploited as a weakness, exploited as a chink in your armor, like we talked about before. Those times would have been the thorn in your paw, you know, that would have made it really just hard to be in your body and to move your body freely instead of feeling like you're caged, like you have to sit still all the time, but your mind is racing, or like your thoughts and your scope and point of view are limited. Those things changing, those shifts you've made are massive sacral chakra healings, whether you've envisioned it that way or not. And some of you might really benefit from eating peaches and orange foods. Peaches I'm being like strongly called to. My spirit guides are having me taste them, so you may really benefit from their nutrients specifically. And also like sacral chakra singing bowls and meditations, meditating on or with the color orange, wearing the color, and yellow as well for the solar plexus for empowerment, wearing both together. Someone's spirit guide is telling them you look good in yellow and to own that. Like, who cares if people think you look like a beacon? That's a good thing. Like, give them a show. Someone's spirit guide is telling you to own that. So if that's you, let me know, because I really want to hear about how you're walking the runway of your life, honestly, in bright yellow. I love that. Love that for you. And for some of you, it's like, wear a flower crown. Who cares if other people think that's childish? Like, wear the damn flower crown. It makes you happy. It makes you feel like your fullest, most vibrant self. It makes you feel like a queen or a princess or a fairy or a king or a prince. It makes you feel like $1 million. Like, do that. Whatever that is that makes you feel like $1 million. Do that. And if other people see that as something to look down on, that's a reflection of them. That's not some sort of vulnerability they can exploit, because you are an adult, at this point. That's not a vulnerability they can exploit. And similarly, like I was talking about walking around with an open heart to connect with other people, that does involve being vulnerable in some ways. And that's okay, because you're perfectly capable of defending yourself. Trust. This came out next to the trust card. It requires vulnerability to form trust with other people, and you can trust yourself to make it safe for yourself to do that, because you'll listen to your instincts when they tell you to get out of Dodge and stop talking to a certain person or steer clear of a certain environment, and you'll listen to your instincts when the flower actually feels safe to bloom, and not keep it in a cage when it actually is feeling good and great to bloom. There's that quote. I do not know how to pronounce the name of the person who said it. Anais is the first name, and then Nin is the last name. But it's something like, and then the day came when the risk it took to open became more painful. The day came when it was more painful to remain tight in a bud than the risk it took to blossom. I'm not saying the words correctly, but it's something like that. Very close, because I know specific words are correct, like risk and tight in a bud and blossom. I know those are correct. But yeah, when you're feeling that instinctive safety to open, you can trust that. And when you're feeling the instinct to close off, you can trust that too, instead of thinking that you're just being socially awkward or doubting yourself. You can trust, okay, I'm going to protect myself and move on here. I'm going to be discerning about who I share what with. I am capable of standing up for myself, actually. If someone does try to take my openness as a vulnerability they can exploit, I can show them, actually, just because I shared something vulnerably doesn't mean that you can exploit me. Doesn't mean that I'm weak. And you can be proud. This dragon is so bright and brilliant. You can be proud of your vulnerability, because it's part of your humanity. It's part of your brilliance. No one is complete without it. And there's so many people are walking around in deep, deep shame, where they are just simply not capable of feeling anything vulnerable without shame immediately cinching it around the waist and locking it away. And that's not you. Not after the release that you had that put you in this open-minded, full, infinite potential state. It's not you. There is immense courage that you have made it safe for yourself to trust yourself and open up into that courage. With that courage, take steps forward in that courage. And like I said, some of those are baby steps. We're not talking about necessarily sharing your deepest, darkest with the whole world, like huge leaps of faith all over the place. They're all precious. Yes, you're also being called to treat yourself as precious, like the way you'd try not to bruise a peach when you were bringing it home from the store, and treat yourself, especially your inner child, but also all of you, as precious. Like, you are precious cargo that you are carrying through life, and you deserve to be handled with care. That's not high maintenance. That's simply what people deserve. Own that you are people and that you deserve it, and treat other people that way too. Like I said, exalting yourself is exalting others. People who treat themselves roughly and treat other people roughly versus people who treat everyone, including themselves, with care. I'm not saying there's only two kinds of people, because if you're healed from shame, you're probably intimately familiar with the fact that there are a lot of people who light themselves on fire to keep other people warm. You know, they'd break their backs to make someone else comfortable, when comfortable may not even be what that person needs, you know? But you are precious cargo, and you deserve to treat yourself and other people that way, because it feels good to treat people with care and consideration, yourself and others. Both feel good. It feels good to treat yourself and others with that care, with that consideration, with that TLC. Like, don't be afraid of the word tenderness, you know? It's a good thing. It's a strength. It's a skill in some ways, and it's a massive flex. I'm hearing, I think there was a meme of this. I don't remember if there was comic, but it was like, do you even lift, bro? Yeah, bro, I lift people's spirits. Like, lift yourself up and lift other people up in that same way, in the same breath. By exalting your own strengths and other people's strengths, and by treating your vulnerabilities, your soft spots, and other people's with the same care that you would your own infant child. Lemon Lime Dragon Union, yes. Yes, treating yourself and other people well are wings of the same dragon. It's hard to fly without both. And this also is speaking to me of that alchemy of seeing the gold in yourself and in life. And also that release of control, like becoming one with your own inspiration, rather than having to like have a tight leash on yourself at all times. Actually letting your inspiration, your intrinsic motivation steer the ship, steer the boat. And being one with your inner child as well. Self-trust is the name of the day here, the name of the game. It's the word of the day here. You have come to reconcile so much within yourself, so that you aren't at war with yourself, and you are on this journey of building self-trust. You've come so far, and you're going to keep going so far, because you have the fierceness of the dragon and the tenderness of the peach, the fragility and beauty and brilliance of the butterfly. You have it all. And it's time to see that in yourself and trust that in yourself, and not fear or second guess it. On the back of the deck, we have the broccoli dragon place. Like, yes, this is your place. Own your place in the world. Know that you have a place in the world. We have this beautiful pure white moth here with these flowers. Like, own the purity and the innocence. Own your capacity to make a place in the world for yourself, to hold safe spaces, and just like, instead of seeing as it like, oh, it's not my place to be so big and bold, this is strongly affirming the energy underlying this whole reading of it absolutely effing is your place. Don't you dare doubt that for a second. And by doing that, you actually make the world a safer place for others as well. Because you've seen the people out there who are a-holes, who don't seem to be capable of bigging themselves up without putting someone else down. And you're not like that. You're bringing a different energy to the table, where you are making the world better for yourself and others in the same breath. An avocado dragon, patience. Yes. I felt called by spirit to look at the next one. This is also another fruit that is incredibly soft and tender, and that you need to be like put it in bubble wrap in order to get it home without bruises. And we all know it's damn well worth it because we love our avocados and we love our peaches. Look at the ladybugs for good luck on the avocado plant as well. Good luck and good fortune are definitely in the cards, literally, for this pile. Abundance as well, because there's so much richness in the peach and in the avocado. They are definitely symbols of abundance. We have all these other, fruit and food things because these are the garden dragons, but really, like, that richness of life is yours for the taking. The world is your oyster type energy. You have more than you need to get more than you need and to keep having more than you need. Sustainability is huge here. And good luck and good fortune, you have it. And again, like the avocado and the peach, are nourishing to the people around you. Accept that nourishment for yourself as well. And start to, in little ways, practice offering that nourishment to the people around you without seeing it as, broccoli is very nourishing too, without seeing it as you showing them a weakness, without it seeing as you, giving them license to poke at you and pluck at you. Just find the little ways that you can offer that nourishment to others, whether it's saying hi to someone at the grocery store or posting your thoughts or art online, whatever it is. Offering your services or products for sale, the ways you can do that without it's not without making yourself vulnerable. It's owning that you're making yourself vulnerable and you know how to protect yourself. Sorry, I keep having the cards all over the place because I'm gesturing with them. And that doesn't make for good video. I apologize. There's also patience with yourself, that tenderness with yourself on this journey of self-worth. Like, I'm worth the fact that it takes baby steps and it takes work sometimes, and the flower doesn't bloom overnight for every single flower. Some flowers do, and other flowers in my garden take a lot of pouring into, and I'm worth it. I'm worth it. I'm worth being patient with. I'm worth not being a slave driver to myself. I'm worth not trying to whip myself into shape and force things. Be the tortoise and not the hare. And we had the banana dragon gather with this gathering the fruits of your labor type energy, and also gathering together with others to exalt yourself and others together. Gathering the potential, gathering the companionship and the connection, making the connections within yourself and in your life. I need two hands. Kept trying to hold the deck with one hand and straighten out the cards with the other hands, and that was not working. Yeah, as one more message from the dragons, we have the cranberry dragon as well. Prosperity. We've been talking about gathering abundance and making sustainable abundance real for yourself. And we also have that contrast of the juicy cranberry has all these needles that protect itself, and this trust in your own discernment of when to be vulnerable and when to protect yourself. And recognizing that as you freed yourself from shame, it's actually a lot safer than you realized or than it ever was before to open up these pieces of yourself that you thought were too soft for the world before. You're now realizing, oh, if I'm not beating myself down, I can actually exalt these parts of myself and show them in the light of day, open them up to the open air without it being dangerous, because I can protect them when I'm called to. And we have the eggplant dragon, fun. Have fun with it. Find the fun in everyday life. Find the fun in every moment. And I think the only other card in this deck that just leapt out at me is the coconut dragon multitask. You have so many. This is just bringing me full circle, like this full moon. Again, with all the nutrients you have to offer yourself, all the medicines you have to offer yourself in the world, this is bringing me full circle to that infinity of stars that you have yet to mine in yourself, that the spirit started us off with. That is what this is calling me back to. Not that you should be multitasking in your everyday life, but simply that you multitask energetically without even realizing it. You have such a magnificent effect on the world around you just by being you, just by freeing yourself from shame and bringing that vibration into the world, that exaltation. And you have so many stars in your sky, so many riches within yourself to mine, and within your life to mine that you have never imagined before, and that your spirit guides are very excited for you to start to see. And it just starts with you getting curious about it and not trying to tell yourself what you are before you even find out. Just taking those baby steps and letting the stars in your sky unveil themselves to you, instead of placing limitations or deciding what it's going to look like before you even find out. I hope that's making sense. When you are open to yourself being a question, instead of needing yourself to be a finite one-sentence answer, you discover that you are in fact a multidimensional 100-book-long series that has, a book version and a movie version, and there are Easter eggs hidden in every single one, and there's a soundtrack, a whole set of soundtrack albums, and some of the soundtrack songs have music videos. Like, that's the type of answer to a question you are. You're not a one-sentence answer to a question. So when you become open to yourself as a question, you get to experience your life as all of those multidimensional things, the whole series, the books and the movies and the love stories and the heartbreaks and all of it. You get to experience all the richness in all of it, instead of limiting yourself to just being, a box, just being one fruit or one flavor, just being one thing. So with that, Pile 3, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you sticking around for the long haul if you listened to this whole video. If you're interested in a personal private reading with me, you can check out my website, which is linked in the description box and in my profile. I look forward to seeing you around in the next reading. Have a wonderful day.